Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Good to see a few faces. Welcome to the second. You can't hear me? Can you hear me? No? Okay. Dennis, you can't hear me. Alison, who can hear me? Maybe you can write into the chat, or you can. Okay. Okay, Dennis, it's just you. Or can you hear me, Dennis? She's not saying anything. Okay, I'm gonna write. Okay. Dennis, you're. Oh yeah, no, she can't hear me. Can you still not hear me, Dennis? Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, great. Yay! Okay, wonderful. Good. Yeah, I mean, with what's going on the planet, I'm amazed that we can have these online calls at all. So that's all good. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just a few things before we get into the topic of tonight, which is soul. We entered the classroom, this first classroom of the Cosmic School, really the first proper classroom. We're a group of 10 people, which I enjoy a lot. I get a lot of emails from some of you, and I do answer them, and I enjoy these evenings tremendously, where we can just be together and just see what unfolds in the moment, or prepared questions. Everything is welcome, of course. Use the chat for questions, preferably in German or English. Some people will join later, so I have to keep an eye out, but that shouldn't be an issue. And this will be recorded and will go onto my YouTube channel. So this is probably important for you guys to know, that you will be then online publicly. So if you want to turn your video off because of that, then anyway, you can turn your video off and on as you want. I hope that's okay with everyone. I'm not sure I've made that sufficiently clear the last time. What else? I think that's it in terms of technology. And then just gonna pin myself here. I'm more used to seeing myself on the big screen than someone else. So good. Let's begin. So we've moved through this full moon. You might have noticed full moons and new moons are intense portals. Really supporting us in clearing deeply and deeper and deeper as we continue this process into next spring and on into 2027. We go into the deeper density successively. So we started, it's almost like just reaching deeper and deeper and deeper into the archives, into the Akashics, our own and the collective one. human akashics, human history, all the archives that Earth holds. And so it's getting more intense until we've reached that turning point next spring. And so do not feel like you're not progressing in your clearing or learning, or some call it awakening. The question is always what awakens really. It's just how it goes. It's more and more intense for everyone. But we also learn to handle more. So there's a certain balance there. I just hear some booklets or leaves, so I'm going to turn off the mic. I don't know who that is. Let's see. Personally, I had an intense, I always, and we all feel the full moon, of course, at least 3 days before it actually is up on its highest peak. And then it takes sometimes another 3 days until we're out of that energy. Sometimes it goes quicker. I felt this time around, I felt much lighter already the day after the full moon. Before that, I had an intense headache, pressure, coming and going, and just really didn't want to be around people. So I went to the lake. Really, the water is the one place that you want to be in, if you can call it a place. The energy, the consciousness that gives us a lot of relief at the moment and release. We are water beings, so we cannot forget that fact, and really it helps us to cool down, because the solar flares are intense. The coronal mass ejections, the CMEs, you might have heard of them. I talk about them a lot. They are so very intense, but we are on the way to crystallize and then diamondize. So it does take pressure and heat, literally, to burn up all that old stuff, all these old beliefs, and this, in a way, you can almost say collective systematic beliefs, structures that we hold in our DNA, in our fields, not just personally, but collectively, planetarily. All of it, we are burning in our fields, in our physical. I said that the last time, this is not a personal story, and it's not even a planetary story or event. It is a celestial project, and it's a universal event. At least I'd say it's a cosmic one, really. So this just as an introduction to intense experiences that we all have. It's crazy on the planet, and it's wonderful on the planet, and it's finally happening, and we do this together. So welcome once more. And let's talk about soul. And I just say a few things, and then I'd love to hear from you. It seems to me that the shift from walking this planet unconsciously or consciously or unconsciously believing that you are matter or body, that shift from that moment to understanding, reconnecting to your innate, your soul, is a huge one. So when you begin to practice, I want to say practice living life, from your soul, from your inner drive, from your soul clarity, because you come in with clarity. That happens later on, that stuff and the experiences. we can call it mission, but you come here with a very clear idea of why you're coming and what you want to experience. Not always the how, that there's a lot going on once you're here, but that soul clarity is a given. You have it, we all have it. And it only happens once we hear that we go through amnesia and we go through layers and layers of acceptance of belief systems and ideations around us that we cannot push aside well enough when we're small, because you're fragile. I mean, as a child, you depend. So you have to, it enters your being to some extent, some more than others, and depending also where you come from when you re-enter the planet in terms of your own soul history. So this happens to everyone. There's no way around this. With very, very few exceptions, those people or humans, or that's the discussion, I'm having at the moment with my team. What is a human, after all? And but it happens to everyone, with very few exceptions, avatars that are completely soaked in God consciousness and are not touched by anything else. They have a role to play, a very specific role to remind us all what is. I said the last time, what is what is eternally, and what is not eternally is not. That's the language that I'm taught, that I'm come from. When something is, it is eternally, it is divine, and otherwise it is not. And that's what we call illusions. And later on, the delusion of illusions, when we and there's a lot of that. We're all going through this process of waking up, as we call it. I'm not quite happy with that phrasing, because you are awake, your soul is not sleeping. But of course, your mind learned to dim your soul light in a way, almost hide it or trick yourself into forgetfulness. We learn to dumb ourselves down, literally, as highly intelligent cosmic beings. We learn to not shine our light fully, not practice and be in our highest and higher intelligence. And this is changing now. So hallelujah, hallelujah. It's good. It's good to be on the planet right now. Soul light, soul is coded light. Light coded into evolution. All light is coded. All light is information. Light is not just nice, light is coded information. Cosmically coded, divinely coded information. And your soul light is emanated out of the one soul consciousness, the one consciousness field, the one soul, the one God soul, the one Godhead, the one field, as a fractal, emanated out of it as a fractal, to be a unique part of the whole, to be the drop and the ocean. And on the planet, we kind of forgot that we are the ocean. We thought we were just a drop, and as that drop, we can do whatever we want. But we cannot. We are divine beings, so our free will is directly linked into the divine will, to be will divine, so that we are creators from consciousness and not from ego, not from the mortal self, but from the higher self. That's what we are actually moving back into, but it takes a lot of unveiling, a lot of throwing out, a lot of saying, no, I do not consent, a lot of reconnecting to soul And maybe you had an opportunity to try out a practice that I sent to you to really meet your soul, have a conversation with soul. Soul is consciousness, is essence, is a being that will take on any form that you need for you to be able to perceive soul. And it is highly beneficial to have an intimate relationship with your soul, really with yourself. And it's what you actually do every time you go into meditation, into silence, and you let the outside world disappear. Because in fact, it is not even there. You know, it's all holographic. It's all it's not in your head, you know, that wouldn't be the right way to put it. But it's in your dream, and the dream of the dream is real. So it is really your experience. It is your soul evolution that you come here to practice. And at the same time, it's for the planet. We are the drop and the ocean, and we forgot about the ocean. The loved one has been activated in January this year, or probably December 21, but then it always takes this time into January until it kind of settles into the denser fields around Earth and into us. And many of us felt that in a very real way, that suddenly a weight was lifted from our everyday lives, from the way we moved through the day, from the way we met each other. There was less of a superficial game going on. That was my experience. I had a much easier time to just meet people without any thought, without any expectation, without any need. It felt just so much more direct and immediate. And we could sit in silence, because when the loved one is activated, you move into this divine connectedness where information flows with ease. And we don't need words so much any longer. Words are wonderful. I do believe that we need to first go through a clearing of our language, our unconscious way with it, really. And our mental loops and games with language as well. So it can become a pure tool once more. What I mean with pure is that the heart can speak and can translate directly into words and does not need to go through mental construct. So if you have something that you'd like to ask me concerning what you've heard today or in the recording, then do please write it up. You can write up questions or comments at any moment, or also if it's not directly linked to what I just said. The thing is that once you connect back with your innate, with your soul, with your soul drive or the soul longing is a very important feeling. It's not an emotion. A feeling has clarity. It comes from soul. It's very clear. And the longing of soul is not a mental longing for stuff, matter, fame, so and so many likes, you know. The longing of soul is a very strong power and a very clear one, and it is as well gentle and soft as it is strong. And it moves in unity, in divine unity with all other energies. There's no need to prove or promise anything. Then you move from soul. Decision making from soul it feels very grounded and anchors your life. It anchors you. No, it gives really anchorage to your life. It just, life feels so much more doable, I want to say. It feels like you're held, like almost risk-free, in that there's no doubt. Yeah. When soul speaks, it speaks through the heart. So you wouldn't have thoughts like, I wonder whether that is really worthwhile, or should I maybe postpone this to next year? Or, you know, you wouldn't have that sort of ping-ponging back and forth when soul speaks. And it's also, soul speaks as almost a spatial language, because it's first and foremost what you feel when soul is, when you're connected to soul. Well, you feel that drive, you feel that push, you feel that excitement and that joy that soul, incarnate soul, feels. It wants to expand constantly. It really is here to experience, experience life in all its facets. And it is a beautiful feeling of light, a strong, I don't want to say hunger, but a strong playfulness in soul, also to push outwards, to expand. And with that, fearless is a good word to use here. It's like a child that is still free and is not limited in its actions and behavior by control of any sort. It's just, soul has this hunger to stretch, soul wants to stretch. Obviously, I mean, it is not used to be, connected to a body and move through the body. It's a tough thing to learn when you come back in. When you're a very high frequency soul, it might be so tough that you withdraw. And that's what we label autistic, right? It's too much. It's too much control coming and density at you. And you have to move back and protect yourself until you find a way to stretch out again. But when you live from soul, you feel that constant, it's like this powerhouse in you that pushes in one direction and not the other. That's the soul clarity. It's not like, oh, I could do this and this and this and this and this and this, and now I don't know what to do. It's either a constant kind of strength and driver in your life that tells you, it can be things like, oh, I really want to live in nature. I really want to live in nature. This constant. And so, you know, it will send images to you. It will send pictures to you. It will start to speak to you. It will start, you know, with your higher selves. Higher selves are higher aspects of your soul that have not incarnated. And it's the first guide in your life, are your higher selves that are, I always say, up. I'm not sure it is up, you know, it's just how we orient ourselves here when we're in the body. Higher selves will give you little tips how to realize what you actually want. But soul is really to push in what direction, you know, and it can be any direction. There's no wrong or right. But it's that force that only can be limited by beliefs of I am not enough, or I have not enough. These two things, in whatever way they play out. There's a million ways it can play out. Experiences that in your childhood or in another life that told you, or that this made you decide that you needed to limit your actual unlimited power and possibility to self-realize. You're unlimited, absolutely unlimited. But if you don't feel so at the moment, a way to start to feel it better is definitely by observing yourself really well. Observe your thoughts and observe your feeling state. And when you still loop a lot, train yourself to not feed it, you know, to go back into your heart and just breathe until you feel. Take yourself out of the thinking till you feel. And when you feel, assess the feeling. There might still be a feeling of sadness, or, you know, or there might be an emotion of anger or helplessness. Assess it briefly. You know, you don't need to go 10 years into therapy. Assess it briefly. Is this from now? Has something just happened right now in my life? Okay, oh yeah, that happened. Okay, it triggered something. Wonderful. Triggers are great because they show me where something sits. Wow, and I want to just lift it up and let it go. Let it flood through me. We don't need to hold it on. We don't need to feel guilt or feel ashamed that we feel helpless. No, in the opposite, let's just say it. I feel helpless really right now, but I know that's not my natural state. So I let that go. I breathe it out, and underneath, I reconnect to my light. I breathe until I find power back in my heart, until I can feel my heart again. And I breathe all this old stuff out of my field, out of my auric field. And I clear it and I clear it and I clear it. And naturally I get help. You know, I call my teams in to pull out what is old, what I don't no longer want. We are commander creators. We can command this. We can command it from the Christ light within us, or we can command it as the mighty I am presence. We can command it just because we are here. You know, we have that right. We have that right to call for help always, and we are never alone. Soul has never ever had a moment, ever, not just on earth, but since we came out of the one field. We've always been taken care of, watched over, loved, guided. And sometimes we just need to reach through all these layers of what seems impossible to penetrate. You know, we need just to remember that this is not what we are. And sometimes we can just say the word help with intention, you know, help, universe, help, team, help, cosmos, help, higher self, reach down, reach into me and pull out everything that shadows my world right now, because I know that that is not what I am, and I'm done with it. And then breathe and wait a little moment. Sometimes it takes only seconds, depending on, you know, sort of whether you block yourself with doubt. If you speak from authority, then the command is very clear and the teams can react and respond really quickly. Sometimes it might take a little bit of time because they need to reach down through the density layers of this planet. It depends on who's coming in. Keep your teams close to you. And that's almost another session, but we can look into that too. I'm just reading through what Desiree is writing. Yeah, there's a lot of, there's so many beliefs. There's so many, and it's not, I do not want to, personally, I'm not so much interested in knowing them all mentally, because I have no mind. I just have a crystal up there, and all I know, he as a guardian of Earth, we have come back from the future to help here out and just be the diamond key, so that we can push through all that old stuff. To me, it's so old because I've already been where we're getting to, and I'm kind of waiting, you know, waiting and showing the way and pulling out and pushing up. And there is, it's not just that there are many, you know, the narrative of good and evil is really the core that we have created, the core story that has separated us. There is no evil. It is a mental construct. There is only good. This is maybe a hard one to mentally, we cannot understand. It's a little bit, you can play with it, but truly there is only love. There is only love light. And the narrative of good and evil is constructed. We've started to name randomly, in a way, could say things evil. There is only love. Even the darkest, even the most terrible that we could name is still love. It's still love. And it needs love to find back into balance and neutrality. And that's another thing. We've lost center because we've judged and because we named and labeled good and evil, bad and good, wrong and right, you know, a man and woman, all these separations, these, you know, man and woman is not in itself wrong, but what we've done with it, we've hardened it into outer form, into a shape, into a certain behavioral expectancy. Whereas male and female, for instance, is so much more complex in how these two energies play with each other and hold each other, you know, hold each other up, and in a neutral space of love, truly. But so it's these narratives, and really this is an inverted, we live an inverted code. Nothing is what it seems, nothing is what it looks like. And that's another transition we go through, that we learn to use all our senses, our 355 senses, and start to see with our vast and cosmic eye, with our pineal gland, our eyes become etheric. We stop judging what we see. We stop being so interested in the surface world. We learn that there's so much more. And we learn that there's so much more because these 355 sensory senses are being reactivated. We open them up again as we go through this clearing process that is so deep, that goes deep, into the beginnings. In the Akashics are the archive of everything that was ever felt, thought, and done on this planet by humans. And we're clearing them out. We're walking backwards through that archive to clear everything out. And it's a ton of work, as you very well know and feel, to come back into the 0 point of neutrality, where we can live love, no longer conditioned in a conditioned way, but the unconditional cosmic love. The 0 point where we understand and live in our love again, in the neutral state. Love, unconditional cosmic love, the force, the highest creative force, is neutral. There's no up and downs in it. There's no wanting, there's no denying, there's no corruption in it. It's absolutely neutral. And I think that's all there is to say with our language about that power. Or we would have to talk a lot about love from all different angles, which we might do next in our next session a bit more. But to remember now that we are light and we are love light and we are God consciousness incarnate. We are the ones who decided, who chose, who created evil. We are the evil guys, it's through our choice on the planet that it came about, that it could dwell, that it could grow. And it's so deeply embedded, but hey, the good news is what we created, we can undo, and we are doing that. And it's a cosmic event. It's not about you and it's not about me. We are the conduits. This is what's happening now with these intense energies coming in that make us so tired and confused and sometimes disoriented. We are the land, we are the matrix, and that cosmic project that actually brings about a brand new root race. I repeat this event brings about a brand new human root race. And that's the diamond race. And we are the bridge into that code, 2027, that new code, that new human will activate. And many of us do hold that code as well. When you feel strongly about peace and you're just constantly, wherever you are, creating clearing and lifting and release and forgiveness, and in the most humble way, where you're just simply at service to everything and everyone. That's the new human. There's no more separation. There's no more mental looping, and there's no more me against you, my story against your story. We're done with that. And only when we're done with that, we can truly blossom and we can truly find out what we are and how glorious we are as incarnates. The glory is here in the breathing, living, physical body. That is the matrix of the land. We are the land, and that's the glory. And we have glorified the masters, the ascended masters, the Elohim. And we were told, they sit above us and we need to reach up to them. It's not true. We are the Elohim. We are the ascended masters that came back. And that's not where it ends. When you have regained mastery, it goes on into full surrender to become the kingdom of God. And that is also something that many of us chose and others not. We all have different goals, you could say, different experiences that we seek, even within this huge transformation that takes place on the planet and that affects everyone. Still within it, we are coming in from different angles. And still, we operate under the law of one. And still, we are the keepers of each other. There's so much falling away, and there's more to come, The really big bits are still ahead of us. But this is not to frighten you at all. On the contrary, we've worked hard to get here. So the deeper structures of everything, not just the systems that we can touch or, are written down, like the economical structures and so on. It's the structure in the land within us that are melting away and breaking away so we can become the freedom codes that we have activated within us, so we can really be free. It goes deeper and deeper into the densities, this process. We're being constantly prepared and watched and taken care of as we go on. And the main work really is to just let go constantly. Can you mention some other practices for clearing the aura? Yeah. Why is clearing the aura so important? In my seminars and meditations on Friday, the first Friday every month, we do this for an hour. Dennis, that of course it plays out differently every time we do it because it depends on the people in the space or the people that are in the Zoom. I just read everybody's auric fields and a bit of a soul history and just where everybody's at, and then my higher selves and my team start to speak through me. And where we usually begin on a one-on-one, I usually begin in the heart, and then I start to travel up and down. I'd say your soul light, which touches all the chakras. So to clear your aura, begin where you feel yourself best, clearest, and that's within your light column. That's because all the chakras, all your libraries, the centers of your experiences sit there. So you make contact with yourself being a vast field of data, many, many, many libraries, billions, millions of lifetimes, and not just on Earth, but everywhere else in the universe. It's all archived within you. You hold that data for your highest good, so you can release it and evolve. We can only evolve when we do the release work, otherwise we cannot. So you make contact with your own light column. Close your eyes and you see that light, or you imagine it. That does not matter, it's the same thing, Imagination is a power tool, because we are creator beings. That's why what you see, you create. It is what you see is. And we don't need the outer eye to check. We used to think what we see with these outer eyes is. Obviously, that's absolutely not true. We live an inverted code here on the planet, and we're now waking up to that. We can turn everything upside down and we come much closer to if you want to call it the truth or the reality of things. But when you clear your aura, start in the middle, start in your soul light, start in your light column that goes through all your chakras. And the chakras, you know, they're not isolated or separated from each other like we've practiced it for so long. They're now, actually have always been in the upper realms. They're one stream of light, coded light information. They're all connected in oneness. So just see that crystalline light, that very high frequency light, your soul light. Sometimes you want to clear it a bit. You want to already, you know, kind of give it a bit of a boost. Maybe it's a bit sticky in there as well. If you've not regularly cleared that part of you. And from there, you just let that light column in 360 degrees grow outwards. You push it outwards. Your back, your sides, your front, in all directions, you push that crystalline light into your auric field. Your auric field is miles wide. You know, it used to be kind of here. It's not anymore. You just go and move that light out as far as you can reach with your sensory system, you know, with your higher senses. And you repeat that with the intention to clear everything that is not mine, clear everything that is not for my highest good. I clear. Mighty, mighty I am presence that I am. I command to delete everything within my auric field that is not for my highest good. And you clear, and maybe you have to do it a little while, you know, maybe stuff got stuck in there. You just do it until you see that everything crystallizes. You might find densities, you might find little fields here and there, data stuck, but you keep on washing. It's like washing with crystalline light. And don't forget your back. There's a lot. The back is very important because we are 360 degrees beings. You know, we're not just where our eyes go. We are 360 degrees because we're really, a pineal gland is a real eye, and it goes in all directions. You can see everywhere. And that's the being that we are. So don't forget your back. And your auric field is really where, when you walk the earth, well, it's the field closest to your heart, your soul, your heart portal, to you in a way. So it's the densest. And there's, on the other hand, it's also where you feel the quickest when something's out of kilter, when you suddenly your mood drops or your thinking becomes negative, then definitely go and check your auric field. Clear it. Breathe through your soul light up and down, clear everything, crystallize everything, and again ask your team to pull out any sort of densities. And that can be repeated as often as you want to. And I also do it when you take a shower, I recommend. Whenever you see water or are in water, which really is the same thing for us, because we immediately, our being connects to water, and the experience of seeing water, you know, you can breathe it in, you can move the water into your body, even when it just runs by you in a river. You don't need to stand into it. You can just move the water to you, or you move yourself into the river, and you have that experience. Same with the ocean in front of you. Let it come to you and wash through you. Nothing is the way it seems. The ocean is not really out there and you're here on the beach. All the energies are constantly calling each other and supporting each other and moving through each other and are connected. And we are finding this out again as we start to play with energy once more. And because our sensory system, you know, really wakes up, and we are no longer keeping up that illusion of separation. The tree is over there, I'm over here. You know, tree energy moves right into you. just this morning, I went up to a tree, and I usually put my palms and forehead, my third eye onto the tree trunk, and I ask it to run its energy through me to clear out any sort of imbalance and negativity. Because the tree energy is so strong in its trust and in its archaic knowing that it is rooted and that it is one. And it's the most wonderful gift. And usually you get a story told as well by a tree. You know, they always give you a little bit of sweet advice, or a few caressing remarks. So soul is always here, and soul can get desperate if we ignore it. It can start to get bored, in a sense of, it came here with a purpose, came here for evolution. So to learn, we can only learn if we expose ourselves to something new, or something else. And when the soul gets bored, because we protect ourselves too much, we pull ourselves back from life, believing that we need that in order to be safe, then soul starts to play out. We can suddenly have accidents, one after the other, and maybe they start off in a gentler way, just a little brush with fate, so to speak. You might have an accident, but you're not have no real damage, nothing broken or anything, but you keep on going in the same way, ignoring that inner voice, the inner push, the inner drive, the inner longing. Next accident might be a bit harsher. So do make it a habit to talk to soul, and learn to just, you might not hear consciously, mentally consciously right away what comes back when you ask a question, but the fact that you did connect to soul is happening, it's real, and it gives you a push in life, because soul is happy about this. It wants to be seen by you, not others. Others don't matter, because you see, soul is like when you close your eyes and you go into a meditation, or you connect inwardly to listen to yourself, really, to meet yourself, to meet soul. Soul is an intimate friend or intimate experience of yourself. Soul does not see the world around you as you see it. It doesn't have eyes, and it doesn't read binary code. Soul is just that you as light, as free light, that wants to find expression in this life. Soul is not impressed by, oh, look at that great house that I got. Soul, it doesn't care. Soul wants to express in freedom. And what we call that passion, what that passion is, that drive, is so very individual. And I also hope that we stop comparing lives. It seems very. I think what really is at stake at the moment, what you can really learn, is to speak from soul clarity, which we can also call transparency, to really become transparent to ourselves and to each other. We can call it honesty. And I think there's no way around this, as we're clearing out all these protective layers, all the masks, all the beliefs that held us down. So we step into the light, into our own light of awareness, our own soul light, our own glory. And that has nothing to do with the outside world. Nobody needs to applaud. It's just the way we are. We are free beings. And we want to stretch. Soul wants to stretch. And we need the breath for this. Breath is really the connection to our freedom codes. It takes us anywhere we want to go. And there is an impulse in our physical that when we hear something of importance, we want to breathe it in, That's the way we take in information, through breath, we take the energy in. And we merge, that's how we meet when we're not in the vessel, when we're not incarnate, when energies meet out there. It's a moment of contact, it's a moment of merging. It's split seconds, no much less than split seconds. We update when we're not in the body. It's so quick. And something like this is happening again here. I feel as our bodies become lighter, we literally become more transparent. The light starts to shine through our bodies more and more and more. And it starts to expand through the physical, that soul light that we are. And that alone gives us stability. And soul light can fill us, stretch out. We become very stable. We come out of the mind to a stable field. And our heart, becomes the portal for the information that soul wants to push through. And how can we get there? It is daily. At the moment, we're supported by so much because it's all been chopped away, chipped away, chopped and chipped away. All that false belief stuff. There's no way around it than to learn to live from heart. But still, we're still in the process of, practicing. But looping is no longer possible. We create headaches and pains. And a lot of people have pain at the moment because the clearing is very intense. And if you don't know how to relax through breath work, water work, just how to let go of the illusion of control through the mental, then, that data that actually wants to release, you hold it back. Maybe you're unconsciously, and that's fine. Maybe it takes another round and another round until that part of your data can be released with ease. Maybe we need to go through a round of pain. Be conscious, be always aware when pain comes. It signifies that you hold pain, you hold data down. You don't trust to release it yet. You don't feel safe yet to release it. Give yourself a whole lot of love, unconditional love. Tell yourself, it's all good. You're safe. I am safe. I am safe. I can release. I can be on my path in my own way and at my own speed. I am an eternal being. I don't need to worry about time. Even though, that moment between what we call birth and what we call death is brief. when you can live it from your higher self, from your soul self, even that earthly experience is an eternal experience, and you can expand it. And you start to live in the time-space continuum that there is no beginning and no end, and everything you bring here, you can anchor in. And everything you can take with you, learn from, evolve by, is written in your eternal star energy. It is such a shift in our lives when we understand that we are eternal beings and that we can release the death codes. We no longer need to hold on to them. We can release them. There's a great calm coming when that is understood, and not just understood, but understood, which means it's activating within the deep heart as our truth. Not my truth, your truth, but the one truth, that we are eternal beings. Never to be born, never to die. No matter where we are and what form we take. So yeah, other practices to clear the aura, apart from the one I keep probably repeating because it's the most effective. Every pure thought clears us. Every time we connect to soul, we clear data. We clear all the false beliefs that there is no soul, that we cannot connect to soul, that we cannot reach up into our highest soul aspects. All these unconscious and conscious beliefs that we still carry around, we eliminate in that moment when we say it. We do not even say it. Just by connecting back to our soul light, by setting the intention that I connect to my soul light. In this very moment, I command my soul to come, sit opposite me, or just be with me, connect, show itself so I can feel your soul, show yourself within me so I can feel you. You know, it's that peace that comes, that feeling that you are filled from within. Every time you feel peace from within, you actually remember your divinity. Why else would you feel peace? Because if you use your eyes and look around, you always find threat, especially if that one is still very active. But the fact that you can sit somewhere, close your eyes, and find peace is proof that you are far more than this body, that you are connected to a far wider and vast reality that holds you, that feeds you, that guides you, that wants you to succeed with anything. The other practice to clear your aura, I think I was in the first package that I sent out with the sun. You step into the sun, which is a consciousness really. You imagine a big sun in front of you with very high frequency light, and you step into it. And you let that consciousness move through you and clear out density. That has the same effect. And you can guide that consciousness to go to certain places in your chakra line, or in your auric field, wherever you feel you need more activation or you need stuff to be pulled out. Our teams are so very helpful, because when you're in the body, you're, for two reasons, I feel. First of all, if you work with very high level authorities, high level light authorities, like I do, they have done this job for eons. I mean, they are on the creator level. So they are the beings, who can shift realities fast. They have very high light authority. And they sit far beyond, above the universes. So they are on a completely different speed, and and the whole experience, aeons and aeons and aeons of working with electromagnetic fields, and they know how to renegotiate soul experience. Every experience is coded, and it's owned by those involved, by all the energies or beings or entities involved in an experience. So when they go into our electromagnetics, when we call them, to work with us and to pull out, let's say, I have a heavy heart, and I know, I do not even want to know what it is, it's not so interesting. I know I'm a light being from the highest order. This is not who I am, a heavy heart. I must probably do collective work, as I so often do, but I do not need to hold on to this. So I say, come on in and pull this out. And if it's really for me, but I didn't come in with a lot of stuff. Not from me. I worked through my family lines for several years. And now it's collective work that I do. And it's been like a few years in the past that I worked through the last bits of very old twinship soul marriage stuff that had affected my heart. So that was probably the last time that I had to do work within my own heart. But let's say there is an experience, a soul wounding even, and an experience your soul had maybe before you even got here, but that left a deep, deep marker. It's in the unconscious when it's that old, because we've pushed it down, otherwise it would not even be there. So they can reach into that very old data. They have that light authority to go that far back and to reach in and to go back into that situation, to read who was involved, what entities, what energies, and to bring all these entities and energies together and renegotiate. Because as I said, every situation is coded and owned by those who were involved. And in order to change these things in your unconscious, to heal or transmute soul wounding, primary wounding, that can hardly be done by anyone in the body, because it will take quite a while. Maybe it can be done now because everything's changing radically, but these beings are so fast, they can reach in, and within minutes or seconds they find the place and they renegotiate it, and they're allowed to lift it and release it, all that data. And that has an enormous effect on your entire system, in your entire, it's like an upload through all the layers of light that you hold in all the 12 material densities where you exist, everything goes, and you just come out of this changed, in that your mental state has changed. It's lighter, you're no longer looping. Your emotional state might have changed. You're no longer feeling sad, you know, you're no longer going into emotions, maybe you're done with it. You know, you have other guidance now. You don't need to signify us that emotions really are for us. So working with teams, especially with these high level teams, and we can always call for, you know, the highest, the beings, the healers, the technicians of the highest order. Contact me, and very often we are contacted by them because of course they know us. You know, our teams have been with us since the beginning, and the teams change according to our evolution. You know, we need new teams, we need to learn something new, something else. Maybe we want to learn faster, we gave that command, then we need the adequate team mentors that stand at our side. And we go through shifts, you know, we go through shifts where we realize how many beings stand and sit around us and constantly have their hands on us to make sure that we can heal quickly or release quickly. Definitely, when you feel you cannot reach soul, cut through all the stuff, take your scissors out and cut. Just say, I cut through everything that holds me back. I no longer need it. You need to set that command. You need to say, I do no longer need what holds me back to see my true light. Take it from me, from this moment on, to never return in any form or shape ever again. And then immediately something happens, something is taken from you. And then I believe, that's how I experience it, I immediately go in and put my highest light or a crystal into that place that felt heavy before, just to keep the high frequency up. And then it will still take a while, you know, maybe days, maybe seconds, or probably both, you know, for this to work through the physical. What was done and what was taken out, you know, it takes a bit. But you will just realize your full process is lighter. You're more immediate in life. You're fresher. You don't need to prepare, and you don't want to control anything any longer, because you know you are safe in your presence. As a divine being, you are safe. That's your innate state. It's only once we start to doubt that safety that we block it. So soul is experiential, you know, don't think about too much about souls. Just start to talk to it, start to connect with your inner light, and then follow it up and follow it down. And that's a way to start to communicate with soul. Alison is writing how and when I found out who I am. I translate this, or my abilities. I came in as bodhisattva. I came in straight down. I'm not here to learn. So since I'm small, I said things like, we do not die. Nothing ends. We know everything from the heart. I have no fear. What is that? I have no parents. What is that? You know, my mother once told me, it's not too long ago, really, maybe a year or two, that she said that I often sat on the staircases in a sort of trance. And when she asked what I was doing, I would say, oh, you wouldn't understand. kind of radical and maybe not so nice for my mom, but my mom accepted it. You know, I came in like this. I just came in. It's all timed, you know. It's all timed. The moment, your whole process of, you know, a lot never touched me. A lot of things that others were disoriented by never touched me, because I don't know whether I've worked through it at another moment in time. I feel like I've never had to work for it, because I'm not very human. I've hardly have human code. I just have enough to make a body, and all the rest is cosmic or alien code that I now had to say yes to again. You know, we constantly have to say yes to everything that we before decided to be and do here. But we need to consciously say yes again, because we are God consciousness. We are a unique part of God consciousness. And as such, we are the ones who are conscious. So we need to consciously say yes to everything again, even though we've already written contracts. And I know I have a radical, I always felt I'm very directed. So I had a very clear, I came in like this and then I never lost it, that direct line coming down. I never lost it in my way, sort of through the density layers back up into my full conscious self. And I'm only reaching that moment. My Chiron returns this June, when I will reach a huge part of my soul aspects, and we're all working towards wholeness of soul at the moment, bringing back all our parts. And I'm not Lily. I'm also not one. You know, I am a collective. I'm part of a council. And all this information, I constantly said in my life since I can remember, but you know, that does not mean I was 4 years. I mean, I actually was. I traveled with Michael, Archangel Michael, since I was 3 and 4 years old. When I would go to sleep, I would tell him, now show me this universe, you know, show me everything. Every night I would say that. And so I would go on in my dream state or in my sleeping state, which I never slept, you know, I never sleep, which does not mean that I don't lay down. I do lay down, but just to, you know, relieve my body a bit, and maybe that will change too in the future. But I give a bit of relief to my physical, but the work goes on. It actually is, maybe it's the most effective when I'm actually in a sleeping state. No, that's not true, but it is important. And so, but you know, I've always been very, very dedicated, and it wasn't about reading up stuff. I never read up stuff. It just always said, I want to know everything. I always said that. And that there were moments where I thought it's worldly knowledge. Then I went to the university, I realized, no, it's not that. And I was interested in mystical information, you know. And well, I always had a very strong inner compass of what I felt was, I don't want to say right or wrong, because that's not what it is about. You know, we all wake up at a certain, with a certain angle towards the one truth, and it's not right or wrong. But I had a very clear compass always in my life, what I want to move towards, and it always was the highest light, the highest possible frequency that I can hold and pull down in terms of codings that this vessel could hold. That was my constant prayer. And I had many moments of miracles, if you want to call them. I don't know, we all have those. Sometimes we don't even notice them because we are locked into mental perception, and we don't notice that there are actually so many miracles happening in our lives. But I'm happy that I open up more and more of what I am, And that is my only goal in this life, to bring it all, open it all up, activate absolutely everything that I can possibly can, while also holding the body, to bring it in, to anchor it into this matrix through my physical, through the collective, into the planet and up, and to share what I am and know with anyone and any energy that wants to learn or hear or be inspired. I'm not here to, I'm not on a mission in that way, that I you know, there's not my truth against your truth. Doesn't interest me. But I am here to show the way to anyone who's interested, to themselves, to their highest existence, their highest truth, their highest light, connecting them back into their own divinity. And my main work is probably to be, I'm a very, very old soul. I'm coming from the first emanation, the Emerald Order, and I'm here to witness everything. And witnessing is sort of an exhausting job because you hold the future. At least that's how it is as an old soul. You're knowing where this will end up. You know, I hold the bigger picture for everyone, so they can walk with me over the bridge into the new age. And it also means that I'm holding the emerald light and I'm holding the diamond key, and I am the diamond key for all these processes that take place now on Earth. I'm here for the planetary grid to transmute and transform and to take out all sorts of stuff, you know, that sits too dense, that is old and that is controlling. I do not accept it. And because I say so, it needs to go. And there's a lot else that is connected to what I am. I am Ishtar, the Christed Sophia, the oneness of the God conscious, the male and the female, the planetary conscious and the cosmic conscious. It's just a very, very old oneness code that I am and that I hold in this body. So that's an answer, a possible answer. And I know that all of you have amazing soul histories. And I'm very proud of every single human being who has the courage to cut through all the bullshit, pardon my French, and that just to birth themselves again into the pure light that they are. And just we need to learn to distinguish between the outside and our innate. So the job becomes a bit easier. So we can just see, aha, this is just the data that I hold, or it's the collective data, and I'm just here to practically breathe through it and release it into the light. That's all. And then reconnect to my heart and my longing and my dream, and express that dream. And be present and take decisions out of presence and not from the mind, and not because others tell you and blah, blah, blah. Take decisions out of your own present heart. No matter what it concerns, your life, the life of your children, partnerships, where you live, what you do. And luckily, because we are reconnecting, just knowing once more that we are one, that we are keepers and of each other, which I really love that that's coming back so strongly again. We are each other's keepers. We don't need to do this on our own. We never meant to, and we never are alone. But most beautifully, this awareness is coming back on earth. You know, we let the protection shields drop and the masks, and we can start to show ourselves to each other. And so very quickly, that what we felt was fragile, we realize is our strength. That's all I have to say for tonight. Are there any other questions, comments? You're welcome, darling. Thank you. I thank you that you are present tonight and that you are here in your freedom codes with your hearts, linked into the collective and as the matrix of the land, of the planet. It is a powerful thing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will send out the material for next week. I think tonight or tomorrow morning, the latest. Focus there is love and the universe. Again, I'd like to say that for every single topic, there's so much to say. I hope it's not too, you know, I do want to come from all sorts of angles. So, because we can no longer just use a language in this linear way and say this is it. Sometimes, but these are big topics, and they're layered, and that's the wonderful thing with words, that we can dance and we can choose angles. And so I try to do that, realizing that it's a lot of material in a sense to digest it and then to apply it. So, but it's a great joy. It's a great joy, and I'm very thankful to you all. Yes. Have a good night. We talk soon. And just shoot me an email if there's something coming up. Okay. Bye-bye. Sleep well. Yes. Thank you.